Oh my goodness. I do not know what's going on with that countdown on its side. That's super frustrating. Um and it didn't save my this is frustrating too. Let's move this down a bit. Up. I've obviously done something wrong here. Zoom in on this touch. And move this up around. There we go. And this camera's not even straight. Look at that. I can't level my camera in the back. Anyway. Craziness. Knock knock. Hello, Diver Jim. Knock knock. Who's there? That's my daughter is fascinated with knock knock jokes. Um, I'm looking forward to her knowing more than four. There's the knock knock. Who's there? Banana. And then you repeat that a few times, and then aren't you glad I didn't say banana? It's a favorite. There's who's there? Interrupting cow, moo, and the same thing with pirate, interrupting pirate with R. What's another one that we say often? Well, maybe there's only three. She is 5.5. She'll be 6 in about 2 months. 3 months. So let's see. We don't have my lights on in the back. There we go. That looks better. Interrupting Camus. It's great. And then interrupting pirate. R. I know there's another one. And I always look up the jokes for 5-year-olds, jokes that 5-year-olds would love. Different websites have them, and some of them are really good. Now I am terrible because I never remember jokes after when I read it, and then it's gone from my head forever. That is a skill. Hopefully she will be able to retain jokes, because I feel like it's often useful to be able to tell a joke and not forget it. That and telling stories in general. I think that's a good skill to have growing up. Can you do a tutorial on running AI image generation locally based on text prompts? Yeah, so I really should. I know I need to expand beyond just Ollama. Ollama is the thing I'm focused on most of the time, because I was part of the team that made it. Although I've been away from that team longer than we were building Ollama. I guess we were working on infra, which was a role-based access control for Kubernetes, and we did that for about a year. I guess maybe it was 7 months, 8 months, and then we pivoted to SSH keys for maybe 2 months, and then we pivoted again to Ollama, and that we switched over to that in June. July we kind of released something, and then I left in January, so 6 months, 7 months, somewhere in there, and I've been gone from that team for January till September. That's 8 months. So yeah, I've been gone longer than I was part of the team, but yet I still latch on to Ollama for lots of things. And yeah, it would be great to start covering the different models that are available. I feel like I could do that some justice. That could be interesting to do. Oh, my dog's going nuts. see who's on the driveway. That looks like... Who's that? Oh, that's my wife. Okay. Oh. Yeah, so, I mean, there's... All I really know about is, like, Comfy UI. There's probably some other different UIs that are available for doing image generation, but... And then there's all these models, and there's just so many. I don't even know where to start with all the models for diffusion, yeah, generating images, and then there's all, yeah, there's probably more interesting to more people, because I mean, Ollama is first and foremost a developer tool. And people want to use it as non-developers, but it's a developer tool first. I mean, there's lots of front ends for Ollama, and that brings it to the end user, you know. But it's, yeah, you kind of want to be a developer first. And I don't know if there's the same. Is there the same kind of engine for the diffusion models, or are they all just front ends first? I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, I use Midjourney for everything, even with newer things like, even with God, what are Ideogen or some Ideogram or Flux or all these, I still go back to Midjourney and use Midjourney for pretty much everything. So it would be nice to be able to know how to use these tools more effectively, so I don't keep spending $20 a month, even on months where I don't actually generate much. If you're taking requests, I would love a local speech to text and text to speech models. Is there any reason Ollama can't provide that service, or is the input-output framework too different for that? Yeah, I think it is. I mean, the Whisper model, which is for speech to text, is just so different from what Ollama does and from the Llama models. So Llama and Mistral and Gemma, I mean, are the kind of the major architectures for text to text to text generation. And everything, the image generation is very different. Going from image to text, a multimodal model is a little bit different, but sort of the same. Going from speech to text, I understand, is quite a bit different, and it's hard to, I don't know, the Whisper, it just works so well on most platforms. I don't know if it needs an Ollama. Oh. You mentioned in a few videos that fine-tuning is not a way to teach a model new information. Yeah, that's the way it's always been talked about. It's you use fine-tuning for teaching the model new ways to say the same things. It's not giving new information, it's just kind of changing the format or the style that's being used. But to give the model new information, that requires training, and training is a lot harder. I have no idea. But then the easy way to do training, like the easy way to do, well, there's fine tuning, which is pretty easy. Turns out I didn't realize it was so easy. But the easy way to do that for adding new information is RAG, and so that's what that last video was. It was about retrieval augmented generation. You want to retrieve the right information, hand it to the model saying, here's this new information, now do something with it. I feel like there was one I missed No, no. Diaper Jim, I have an 8, 5, and 3-year-old girls. Oof. Yeah, we adopted our daughter, and I feel like we like won the lottery on this one, and the next, if we adopted again, um, would we be so lucky? I mean, I'm sure we would. I'm sure it would be, no matter, all the children would be wonderful. But yeah, um, and plus getting your so our daughter is 5 years old now, coming up to 6, and so I was um yeah, I was 48 years old when we brought this infant. We adopted her when she was 2 weeks old. We bring this 2-week infant home, and I'm 48 years old now. Normally, when people have a newborn, they are younger. They are 30. They are 20. Sometimes a little earlier than that, but they're younger, and so those all-nighters are hard, but not crazy. At 48, doing all-nighters, that, that was hard. That was awful. I don't know if I want to do all-nighters again at 53, 54 years old. So, that said, we have a friend who is, they're just expecting their second, and he is totally natural, nothing, no drugs involved, no help, no, just the old-fashioned way. He is 69. 69. I mean, she's a lot younger, and he's 69. Wow. That's interesting. Loved the rag video yesterday. Well done. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Let's see. What else have I missed? Use Whisper is pretty good. Yeah, I did a video actually on the Whisper. I mean, there's a number of, there's the free Whisper, like there's Whisper CPP that was produced by Georgy Gurganov. There was also a Whisper, the original Whisper CPP, or the original Whisper, GitHub repo and executable to run came from OpenAI, and so it's on their GitHub repo. And then Georgy Gurganov, that guy who came up with Llama CPP, came up with Whisper CPP, and that's still maintained, and that's great. And so you can run that on most platforms. And then there's all sorts of other tools that have kind of taken that and tweaked it a bit more. So I love using Mac Whisper. Again, I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to use Mac tools. But I use Mac Whisper, which is amazing because I'm able to hand it an audio file or a video file, and it will generate the SRT file. And I can, before it generates it, I can go in and, replace all mentions of OLAMA to OLLAMA, or replace, fix all of those types of misspellings. And it spits out an SRT file. And there's a lot of other things it can do. But for live, as I'm talking, I'm writing out a script. And welcome to today's course on building a RAG solution. I could have just typed in a keystroke, and it starts recording and listening and spitting out what I say to the document. So I just have it spit out that to the document that I'm in Obsidian for my scripts, and it's perfect, amazingly well. Does it amazingly well. So, but there's so many other Whisper, other front ends for Whisper, because Whisper is, you can use it as on its own, but it's just so much nicer if you've got something in front that just manages it. Kind of like Ollama. You can there's nothing that Ollama does that you can't do with Llama CPP. Just Llama CPP, and some people say, Llama CPP is easy. those people are crazy because Llama CP is not easy, and Ollama just makes it easy, makes it so much easier to work with. So, and I'm sure I'll get a comment. It's like, all right. In my opinion, structured output is the future of AI. I would appreciate a lot if you could suggest a set of tools that can run locally for the purpose, hopefully lightweight. Now, what do you mean by structured output? Sometimes there are different words that get used for different things, and sometimes the same word is used for different things. So explain what you mean by, let's not use a marketing term or exactly what do you mean? At 40, I know I couldn't do all-nighters anymore. Yeah. Yeah, I used to do all-nighters when I guess the last all-nighter for work. Well, there was the time where I was getting a demo ready for reInvent when I was still working at Datadog, and my demo was not working, and I ended up doing a few all-nighters in a row, right at the last minute, and yeah, that was hard. That was maybe 5 years ago. That was for a talk, actually longer than that, probably 8 years ago. A talk I did on AWS Lambda. So Lambda was announced at reInvent, and then a year later, I did a talk. I mean, because of the Datadog sponsorship level, we got like 2 or 3 talks at reInvent. So and they gave me one of them. And I thought, well, Lambda came out. Let's talk about Lambda. and it turned out only like 2 other people were talking about Lambda. And I was just lucky to choose a topic everybody wanted to hear about. And I had a room that was built for Phantom of the Opera. Well, I mean, yeah, Phantom of the Opera. So you had these candelabras and just really, really cool. And one of the presidential debates was held in that room as well. It was just an incredible, incredible theater. Room for about 2,000 or 2,500 people. And I get there and the room is packed. There are people sitting in the stairwells or the stairs, like the aisles, because there are no seats left. You go to a conference and any room, for 500 people or 1,000 people, there's, it's like person, empty seat, person, empty seat, person, empty seat, because nobody wants to sit together. But this was like everybody was squeezed in and they were tight and they were still on the aisles and they asked me to repeat it. It was so cool. Amazing talking to 2,500 people all at once. I loved it. Yeah, so you think he was meaning JSON? Yeah, I mean, if that is what you mean by structured output, then Ollama has, just format JSON and specify a schema, and it does it, and it does it really, really well. There's this newer approach to doing function calling or tool calling that's not as good as what was added to Ollama right about a year ago. So it was added about 1 year ago, and it is entirely 100% reliable. 100%. It's in some of my experiments, where I was sending the request to it like 1,000 times, 1 out of 1,000 would fail. Okay, so yeah, that's basically what was added to Ollama about a year ago. So for taking actions and running functions depending on the user prompts, yeah, so that was added about a year ago. It works 100% reliably. And OpenAI, I think, had some issues with what they were doing, and they keep tweaking it and giving it new names. But I mean, it is incredibly reliable on Ollama. Then there was this more recent update where they they announced function calling, but they already had it, and this new way is not as reliable. So I don't know. I don't get it. I totally don't get it. All right. Hey, we've been going for about 25 minutes, 22 minutes, and this is a news show. I haven't talked about news. I was a little bummed. I was kind of going through my news feeds and my Twitter. I have a list that I put together of like news items related to AI. I was like, oh, not much happened in the last day. This is gonna be a week. Maybe I should skip it. And then I eventually found a few things to talk about, but kind of light day. So answering questions is good. Excuse me. I was just wondering what it would take for LLMs to achieve reasoning similar to that of humans. Is that even possible? Would love to hear your thoughts on this. So, well, one of the topics is, let's not look at my Proxmox. One of the topics that came up is OpenAI plans to release Strawberry for ChatGPT in 2 weeks. I think this is a stupid story. Who cares what they plan on doing in 2 weeks? I mean, it's like, we don't need to see that stuff. It's like whenever, if you're in the market for a product, don't buy the product based on what they promise is going to be there. Am I really dark? No, okay. Don't buy a product for what they plan to have in the next release or what they plan to have next month. Because, I've done that so many times where I've worked at different places and we bought a product because they plan to have that feature in 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks never happens. It's always some point in the future. And these AI companies, they're always saying, "Oh well, we're going to release something in a few weeks, and it's going to be amazing." And then it finally gets released, and it's like, "Oh well, wasn't that amazing?" So maybe this will be amazing. They've kind of been hyping it up for a while, which kind of makes me think that it's not going to be that amazing. But they already said it was going to be, so they have to kind of keep rolling with it. And they're hoping that they're going to be able to make it amazing in the next 2 weeks. But maybe they won't. But the reason I bring this up is that one of the things that it's supposed to have is better reasoning. I don't know. I'm not gonna. It'll be great if it's true. Is it possible? I guess so. But we haven't seen anything. It's like people had said, oh, they had seen the real Sora. Nobody else has seen it, and all sorts of people say they have seen things and they just make stuff up. There was the recent reflection model. People had seen it and it was amazing, and then it turns out it wasn't, and it was kind of all bogus. So I don't know, I'll hold out. I won't hold my breath on this one. Maybe it'll come out. Apparently it was supposed to come out like 3 weeks ago, but then it was actually the Twitter model, and yeah, whatever. I don't know. Will it achieve reasoning similar to that of humans? Absolutely. That is probably one of the steps along the way towards AGI. And some people will keep. If you've watched me for any amount of time, you know my opinion on AGI. Yes, it will be here. We will have AGI. Yes, it will be amazing. And when that comes out in 2040 or 2050, it's going to be incredible. But we got a few decades before that's going to happen. So I know that doesn't sell. It doesn't sell papers. People want people to say that, oh, AGI is going to happen next week, and that's going to help sell their newspaper or whatever. But yeah, whatever. It's just funny when people talk about it. So I don't know. I don't have an answer. I don't have a. Is it possible? I would expect it to happen, but it's not happening for a while. Another thing that happened. I mean, yesterday I briefly mentioned it. There was the Apple update. The Apple. Let's go to Apple. So there was this iPhone. They announced the iPhone 16 and 16 Pro. Does this react to me? No. And built for Apple Intelligence. We saw yesterday what's required. So you're going to need an iPhone 15 or 16, not my iPhone 14. And there's a whole bunch, and most of the event was really focused on here's this new iPhone 16 Pro, and some people are saying, oh, it's like only meh. But I think that extra button on the side makes it adds so much value. It's like the Touch Bar on the MacBook Pros, which was so amazing, and I'm so frustrated that Apple removed it because it was the most amazing feat. As long as you took advantage of it, and some people would like just leave whatever was on there, but if you really took advantage of it, added extra pieces to make it super valuable, it was incredible. But people were afraid of it and didn't do anything with it and just complained. And then they updated the keyboard to a worse keyboard and got rid of the touch bar. I don't know. People said, "Oh, well, we've got the function key back." Well, you could have function keys and the touch bar. All right. So iPhone stuff, yeah. Watch stuff. The Watch Ultra looks in black, looks awesome, but I'm probably not gonna buy one. And there's a bunch of other things. Okay, but what was interesting about Apple Intelligence? Let's see, where does that fit under here? No. I don't know where Apple Intelligence fits under this massive menu. I don't see it anywhere. So, do we just go to Apple Intelligence? It's a long name. Oh, it is at Apple Intelligence. Okay, so this is somewhat cool, and then they show all these things that you can do with it. Okay, interesting. I feel like most of the features here aren't known yet. I was going to wait for third parties to do something really cool with it. The basics, the bones are there, but that's it. It's got some cool things to do with text. Okay, whatever. That's not the magic. The magic for me is that they've got a model that runs efficiently on a phone, and I haven't seen that happen anywhere. There's been a lot of models that you can run on a phone, and it kills the battery in like 10 minutes, and it's just like worthless. But if they have a model, the idea is that they have a model that runs on device that can answer a lot of your questions based on the information. What makes RAG amazing is that you give it the knowledge that you want it to know about, and then it can answer questions about it. Now RAG, they've got all of your life as that RAG database, and they can provide just the right information to a model that's small enough and efficient enough to run on your phone, and do interesting things. And then if it is harder than what the phone can do on its own, it can hand off to Apple's AI servers. And if it still needs more, then it can offload to ChatGPT, and maybe there'll be other vendors as well. That is the magic of Apple Intelligence. All this other stuff, it's all stuff that's written for the normal consumer, and so they want to see how is this applied. But this whole page just skips over the most amazing feature, and that is purely about that model that is running on device. And people have said, oh, well, Apple hasn't done anything with AI. Apple's done so much with AI, with MLX or MXL, MLX, and so many other I was going to say MLS, but that's a multi-listing service for real estate. But Apple has done so much around AI. It's just most of it never sees the light of day. And I'm very excited about being able to run a good model on a phone without battery problems. Okay, you're saying Gemma 2B? No, I mean it's gonna suck down that battery pretty quick, relatively quick. If what they're suggesting is that it has minimal impact on the battery and it runs really well, that is game changing. And they can do it in a way that's not kludgy to install. Everything else has been kind of a kludge to get running. Get it so it just works. Magic. So anyway, that's my one take on the Apple stuff. Everybody's focusing on the wrong thing, and I'm right. That's a bit. I don't know. What is the right word for it? That I'm right and everybody else in the world is wrong. Yeah, okay, maybe. It's like I'm right about AGI and everybody else is wrong. But that explains why you're all watching this. Maybe you think I might have some right answers. I don't know. In fact, I'm amazed at the number of people watching these streams after. So live, I get 20, 30 people watching the stream. Or yeah, live, it's 20, 30, maybe 40 people watching a stream live. But then by within 24 hours, these are at 900 views. Amazing. I don't know. Am I confident? I mean, I'm quick to say when there's something I don't know. It's like, I don't know. But here's my opinion. And so I definitely have some opinions. I have some opinions. Crew AI. What are some other opinions? That crazy guy who wears Starfleet uniform. Some opinions on that. But anyway, let's take a look at the next news item. This was pretty cool. Project Sid. So the idea is to create a Minecraft world with AI agents, 1,000 AI agents, and they're all running around. And if you watch this video, it talks about them creating a government, creating religion, creating culture, creating an economy, and how they work together. And they find 300 items in the Minecraft world. I've never touched Minecraft before, so I don't know what that's like. But apparently, if they found all the items to look for, and they work together or they work apart, and just like in the real world, religion is doing whatever they can to. Maybe I shouldn't say anything. I have opinions about that too, but probably not the right place to talk about that. And of course, people are saying, bringing up Westworld, and they've been evolved into something new. But anyway, it looked kind of interesting thing to play with. It turns out they are. It's filmed what looks like Stanford. He's a former professor at Stanford, or professor or adjunct or something at Stanford, and he really runs a company, and that company, Altera, they can create a world for you, probably with a price, and to help simulate what would happen in different situations. It's a neat idea, and maybe it doesn't have to be in Minecraft. It can be in other places as well. But yeah, just super cool idea. Has anyone built a Minecraft LLM? So an LLM specifically for Minecraft? Interesting. I know that when I was at Datadog, Datadog is a monitoring company, and somebody had done basically use Datadog in Minecraft, and all the graphs were the Minecraft blocks. And it was pretty cool at the time. And back then I thought, oh, maybe I should look at this Minecraft thing, and I still haven't ever looked at it beyond some videos. All right, so what else we got? So one new actual news item, I thought. Mistral released Pixtral 12B, first multimodal AI model, so image to text. I don't know if it's on Ollama yet. Newest. I don't see it yet. And if I do a search for Pixtral, no, I don't see anything for Pixtral yet. I don't know if it's going to be hard to add to Ollama. The text box keeps getting highlighted, and I can't go back. Anyway, let's just go back to the link, Pixtral. What was said about this? Okay. It doesn't, I don't think I saw anything that showed it actually, here's an example of what it did. I guess you just have to accept that it's a model, but it looks like nobody's actually played with it. Or at least nobody in this article had actually played with it. Model checkpoint provided as is, might not be up to date. Pixtral is out. Yeah, be interesting to see if anyone's played with it. Pixtral review. So people just excited about the fact that it's out, not that they've actually tried it or done anything with it. Though somebody has created a GitHub issue 9 hours ago saying, hey, you should support this. I want to see it usable on the Ollama. Yeah. Okay. What else we got? Well, one more thing. This also regarding the speech to text. It's actually text to speech. So this is Fish Speech. And it is a model that does text to speech and apparently instant voice cloning. I don't know what instant means. And there's flat rate pricing, so you have to pay for it. Looks like they've already posted on Product Hunt. And so is it a there's a playground, but are they actually offering it as a pay thing? I'm not really sure. Is it? It's just fish.audio. And you can sound like Trump. Or all these other characters. Wait, this is fish.audio. Build a voice. Interesting. Definitely something to play around with. And that's all the news that I found that I thought was interesting. So it took me, 20 minutes once we finally got started with the news. What do you think? Any other comments? I let Ollama do most of my thinking. For the rest, I just defer to Matt. Oh God, that's bad. I say all sorts of stupid things. I have said so many stupid things. I think I've mentioned before, somewhere on one of these streams somewhere. Um, there was this event called Monotorama. Is Monotorama still going? Monotorama. Okay. Yeah. So Monotorama is this looks like it was on in June of 2024. I wonder if there'll be a 2025. Started out in Boston, and then it was in Amsterdam. I would have loved to have been there for that. And a Berlin. But it's this great conference, and it's a single track conference. Everybody's on the same stage. There's some weird speakers sometimes, and there's some great speakers. The idea is that most of them should be non-commercial, though sometimes they are. And Datadog was a sponsor, and so one of the founders, Alexi, asked me to go to this event and just do the pitch on stage, thanking the audience for letting us be here. And they said, and Alexi was very specific: do not talk about the product. Do not say anything about who Datadog is. Don't do it. Just say, I'm from Datadog. Thank you so much for holding this event, and we're happy to sponsor. Goodbye. That's it. That's the entire thing to say. And so I go up on stage. I say that, and I think I said something. There was this pack of people right in front that I got distracted because I was focused on somebody's hair. I think it was right in front of me, and I said something else, but I'm not really sure what. And then somebody in the audience said, "But what do you do?" It's I was told specifically not to talk about that, but I didn't say anything. I said, "Well, thanks so much. You can talk to us out in the hallway for more." And I left the stage, and that was it. I was like, "Oh my God, thank goodness that's over." I hate the fact that I couldn't talk about who we were, and it was so frustrating. And then I'm at dinner with my wife that evening, and I get this call from Alexi. And he calls my phone. He says, "What happened?" What do you mean, what happened? What did you say? I did what you told me to do. I said thank you, and I didn't talk about the product because you didn't want me to talk about the product or anything about who we are. It's one of our investors was there, and he said it was a disaster. What? I did what you told me to do. And it has frustrated me ever since. Oh man, I shouldn't have listened to the founder and done just what but then if I had done what I wanted to do, I could have gotten in trouble and then just gotten fired. But at least so that was the other interesting thing about Monotorama was that was an example of stupid things I've said. But one thing with Monotorama, I have a bag. I have this bag. This is my backpack that I carry around all the time, and it says Monotorama on there, right? So, this bag, it was a speaker gift. So people who spoke at Monotorama got this bag, and I was standing with a group of mostly friends that were, and some of them were speakers, and one of them just got his bag, and he was just oh yeah, another conference. I got another one of these damn bags. I don't want this bag. So I said, "You don't want it? I'll take it. I need another bag right now." And sure, so this friend of mine, he gives me the bag, and I'm still carrying it. This is probably a 2017 Monotorama or 2018. It's 5 years old, at least 6 years old, maybe. I don't know if I feel like at the time Kelsey Hightower already had a decent name, but it wasn't as big as he'd become since then. So the guy named Kelsey Hightower gave me the bag, and I don't know if I think he retired from Google now. But yeah, so that's my other Monotrama story. That's what you get with me. You got useless stories. Let's see. What else did we want? Can you talk about my question above on CUDA? Uh-oh. On the Apple stuff, it looks like Apple is the first to really break through the CUDA moat. Can you give the history of how that came to be? I mean, I don't think that. I mean, GPUs were always important, an important thing to have in laptops. Not always, but for a long time. And you know, the MacBook Pro with Intel. I mean, there was for a while it had NVIDIA, and then it switched to AMD GPUs. And they were always like, okay, nothing special about them. And then they made the switch to Apple Silicon. And Apple Silicon, I mean, it had this amazing, you know, on the chip, amazing GPU built in. And they focused on the neural engine, which most people didn't really have access to, but then a number of other things, Secure Enclave, and just really great GPU performance. And I mean, that's why Ollama started on Mac. It was, you know, for the first, I don't know, 5 months of Ollama's existence, 4 months of Ollama's existence, it was an Apple Silicon product only. That there was no option. There was no Linux. It was Apple Silicon, and that's it. And that was actually the reason for the switch from Python to Golang. So Ollama was written in Golang, was just we wanted to add Linux support and then Windows support, and just dealing with those other platforms all from Python was just going to be, you know, and also having to support CUDA and eventually AMD and eventually Intel was just going to be so hard that with Python, it was just unmanageable. And so I got rid of Python and switched to Golang. Again, that was really early on. But I don't know why. I don't know if anything special has happened about. Did it? No, Apple, ARM. No, AMD. AMD GPUs on the Intel. Wasn't that? MacBook Pro. Intel Core Duo 2. Intel. So it had the 2010 model had the NVIDIA GeForce. 2012. Yeah. 2011. I'm looking to see which GPU. Discrete NVIDIA graphics, 2012, 2015. AMD. Yeah, AMD Radeon R9 M370X in 2015. Touch Bar Mac. That had support for external GPU units with Thunderbolt 3, which was pretty amazing. And that had the Radeon Pro graphics. So it's at AMD. Yeah, AMD. So it's had AMD and NVIDIA for a long time. And then they switched to Apple Silicon, which is ARM based. There was an ARM connection there. But I don't know about them coming out. I mean, it's another option. I think what made NVIDIA, what has made NVIDIA especially relevant today with AI, specifically supporting AI, is that for a long time, since pretty much the beginning of NVIDIA, they put more people on the software side than on the hardware side. And it's like, I seem to remember seeing like 2/3 of the employees were software based and a third building the actual hardware. And so they spent a lot of time making software that just made it super easy, relatively, to work with the GPU. And AMD didn't do that. They were, for the GPU stuff, they had hardware people and maybe a few software people. And so people didn't want to build for AMD. And the same thing with Intel. I mean, it was probably even less. And what was special about Apple Silicon, they just made, because they already had Metal before on Intel, but then Metal on Apple Silicon, they just made it so easy to work with. And so when the team was building out Ollama, we knew we needed to work with a GPU. The fact that Apple Silicon had the GPU, that didn't really matter. We could pick any device. We could have just bought new Linux laptops for everyone. The whole 7-person team, and but we stuck with Apple because Apple Silicon and building for Metal was just so dang easy compared to anything else. And so it was a good place to proof of concept, MVP. You want to get it out quick and build it quick, and it was just easiest to do using Apple Silicon. So I think that's why Ollama did it, and I'm sure that's why a lot of other people have made sure that they build something AI related on Apple first. That was a long answer. Sorry. Quick question. Prompt does differ from model to model. Is there anything you can do to make a universal prompt? No. I mean, because every model is going to react differently to different inputs. First off, there's the template, and all models, I guess some of the more of the models are kind of agreeing on generally what's the template that should be used for newer models, but still there's different templates to use. And then different models, sometimes you can use the same prompt, but it's often going to be better. The model makers usually have a prompt they prefer or that they recommend. And that's the prompt that's added to the Ollama models, is whatever they recommended. But is there going to be a universal one? Well, different models have different context sizes. So if, a really long prompt going to eat up a lot of that context. And so maybe really small models are probably going to have really small context. And so do you really want to eat up your context with, this universal prompt? I don't know. I don't think so. So I think there's always going to be differences in the prompts. And maybe you have one prompt that you use for everything, but that might hold you back because you can't take advantage of what's unique about each model. I thought you were talking about Apple Silicon chips being its ARM, right? Yes. Yeah. So Apple Silicon chips are ARM. I think I said that actually. Are ARM based. I don't know if it's like a entire ARM instruction set. I'm not sure how in the Venn diagram, are they overlapping or is it mostly overlapping? Is there some sliver like the crescent moon kind of sliver on the edge of where they did or did not use all the instruction set. I don't know. All right. I'm hoping. Why do I still have that on screen? I keep looking at my email. I'm kind of hoping for an email to show up. No. Yep. All right. Well, I think I got. I don't think I have anything left. Unless you have any more questions. I love these questions. Questions are good. Keep them coming. There was a guy named Arun that I used to have. I mean, I see a name, it's like, oh, let me tell you this story about this other random person. Arun was, I used to work at a company called Net Objects. Let's see, can we bring up Net Objects? So I went to work for a company that made Net Objects Fusion. And it was an amazing tool. And I used to spend so much time talking to this one guy, Arun. I think he's now like a pretty senior guy at Apple. No, at Adobe. Yeah, Clement Mock. There was what was amazing about this was it was the first HTML editor that was pixel perfect placement. So if you wanted, the text box to go in a specific place, there was nothing. I mean, Dreamweaver tried to do it, but it made some really ugly code. And Fusion also was a little bit ugly, but it was so much better than everything else out there. And so I was a sales engineer at this company. And it was a pretty cool place to be for a little while. That was just before I went and left to go join Microsoft. But yeah, I was there I joined Microsoft in 2009. Well, this doesn't talk anything about Team Fusion. NetObjects Inc. Yeah, the two brothers, Samir and Sal Aurora. And then Clement Mock. Is this who I'm thinking of? Yeah. Yeah, and then one of the guys in the office, George Chen, his photo, Clement took a photo of him, and it was used everywhere. I wonder if that photo is still around. The internet guy. Once you see the picture, if you're old enough, you'll recognize this person's face. I don't see him. Oh, there he is. This guy. George Chen. Yep. It was everywhere. Oh, I didn't realize it was when he was at NetObjects. Okay. It was just a guy in the office. Anyway. Recent paper suggests structured outputs can reduce LLM reasoning, but OpenAI demonstrated reasoning capabilities increased on structured outputs. Okay. What the best small size LLM model that, in your opinion, can work for most use cases? I mean, I like Phi 3. 5.3 is pretty great. The super small one. Let's see, Ollama models. I wish I could sort this by size, but I can't. But 5.3 is a 3.8 billion parameter model. That's really great. And it works really well. And then, what's another one that's, Gemma 2B is pretty nice. I think I usually had gone with Phi instead. And there's even a Lava Phi3. I don't know how that is. Yeah, okay, Phi3, the 3 billion Phi3 mini was, I felt pretty good. Even at 4 billion, even at, I mean, sometimes these models, even at, Phi3 was the one model that I had the only model out of all the models I played around with for function calling. Phi3 was the only one that did, it would get a usable response 80% of the time, whereas every other model was like 100% using the older method of doing function calling. But generally, Phi3 was, even at Q, I mean, a lot of these models, they're kind of magic that they even work at Q2, which is just like mind-boggling that even functions. There's always going to be people that is like, oh, wow, on this benchmark, it's only a 25 or whatever, which there's another area I have opinions on, benchmarks. So I don't know. I think the important thing, a few weeks ago, I did a video looking at different quantizations and showing that it's really important to test each of the models in your environment to know what is best for you. What's the best small size LLM? Depends on your needs. What's right for me is not going to be right for you in a lot of cases. So it's always up to you to download the models. I mean, they're pretty small. As long as you have a decent connection, download them. If it doesn't work well, get rid of it and try another one. Have your kind of rubric of what are the questions that you want to answer, because that's usually the hardest part, is coming up with the questions that you've used over and over again. Come up, ask those questions, and yeah, I think that's the best thing you can do is just try them all out. They often surprise you, even at those low quantization numbers, Q2, Q4. It's amazing that this stuff even works. It's like magic. Magic. Let's see. What else we got? Any other questions, thoughts? I have an appointment at some point. When do I have an appointment coming up? I can never stick to one calendar app. Wednesday? No. I thought there was something at 1 o'clock. I hope it wasn't at 11 o'clock. Today, September 11th, not the 4th. Yeah, okay, 1 o'clock. Appreciate your work, sir. Thank you, Pranav. There's another name that rings a bell. Not you, but Pranav. There was a guy I used to work with in Australia. So back when I was working at OpenText, I used to do a lot of traveling. And so I'd be in Australia for, usually most trips to Australia, I'd be there for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, maybe 4, 5, 6 times a year. It was great. Oh, I love going. I'm going to go to Sydney and Melbourne, sometimes Perth. Such an awesome place. Glad I don't live there, but great place to visit. And one of the guys I used to do a lot of stuff with, I think it was in Australia, was Pranav. it was some partner that did write-back stuff, because that's all I trained about was write-backs. Thoroughly boring topic, but I got to go to Australia. Current use case, create database queries, something that I am working on. So there's a SQL, there's a model that's like fine-tuned for SQL. Like, yeah, DuckDB and SQL and SQL Coder. I don't know how well they work. It's been some months since they were last updated. But that's actually one of the fine-tuning data sets that's pretty common out there, is around SQL, SQL, the language, SQL language. In fact, when I was doing the fine-tuning video, 2 videos, the SQL data set keeps coming up as like the example everybody uses to try to play with. So I can't remember what it's called, but there's a SQL-based data set about, given this set of columns that you need to answer, what is the query? And it generates a query, including joins, including all these other, more complicated things. So that would definitely be something to look at. Did you say you have Ollama connected to your Home Assistants? I did not, but I probably did say that there was somebody that did an integration with Home Assistant. Let's see. I'm not showing anything, so let's go to ha.local.tml. That's not it. HA2. Let me show something on screen. Oops. https://ha.local tml. I don't know what's up with my Home Assistant server. I've noticed that a bunch of lights aren't coming on automatically. And so I think my Home Assistant server must be down. I have to remember where I put it. But there is a Home Assistant integration with Ollama. I don't know anything about what it does, but I know some people were really excited about it. Reduces latency by half by caching some prompts like system prompts. I just came across prompt caching in Ollama. It's great. So I don't know of a specific feature around prompt caching in Ollama. Are you going to make this MatRag app of your content available for use by us devoted followers? I should. I should get around to excuse me, to going beyond the simple example that I use in lots of videos. Yeah, I mean, even just for me, there's so many things that I've created videos on, I have no memory of. And so it would be nice, as I'm talking, having Whisper or Super Whisper or whatever, hearing what I'm saying, spit it out to a model, and have it, or to a RAG system, and have it pop up on my screen saying, here's the actual answer to this, instead of the stupid answer you just gave. Here's a real answer. That would be great. All right, so we're kind of wishy-washy, and I'm not really talking about anything. How about we end this now? I got an email like that today. Somebody trying to sell me something. Oh my God, I get so many people trying to sell me stuff. Oh, we love what you're doing with the channel. We'd love to edit your videos. Can we edit your videos? How much are you charging, and what are your services? Oh, well, we need to have a conversation first. Like, no, what are your rates? If you don't have your rates, don't talk to me. Oh, well, and then recently, some PR company, we'd love to place you in a bunch of news articles. Would you be interested? Like, sure, I'll get a free placement. And it's like, oh, well, we need to schedule a call. It's like, tell me what your services are. How much do you charge? Am I the customer? And so, oh, well, we need to get you on. Don't bother calling me again. If you're not going to tell me how much you're going to charge, just flat out, just tell me. And we can, if you're going to offer me a service, tell me what you're charging up front. Don't bandy about and try to, trick me into buying some service after you've convinced me. I understand the value. Just tell me the price. Oh my God, I get so many people wanting to create thumbnails, I have worked with one editor who was great, and he told me up front how much he's going to charge. It was amazing, and I used his services for that video, and I'm probably going to use him again, because he was honest and upfront and told me what he charges. And all these other editors, they're like, oh, well, we need to have a conversation. Oh, well, we can't possibly give you a price because it depends on your needs. And bullshit, BS. Tell me what you need. Tell me what you're going to charge me, and we can start the conversation. Ugh, drives me nutty. The value of the example as a useful tool is amazing. Oh, yeah. Cool. All right. Yeah, I think I said I'm going to stop. And here we still are. Yakking on. Oh my goodness. I say I'm going to leave and people start showing up more. 22 people. Totally agree on the get to the point thing. So much time for all that old school selling techniques. Oh my God. Just get, let me look at my email. Just I got this one from, I don't know, Mistral Edits. Just tell me what you're gonna this PR agency. It's like, why are you reaching me? Our PR firm has opportunities for you to be featured with Bloomberg and Forbes. Would you be interested in hearing more? From co-founder, who, when you look at their website, they're like way down the list. Co-founder? It's like, I looked at your site. I see what your goal is. Don't call me again. Who else? What other crazy ones did we get? Just tell me what you want. Can't get enough of your content. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm ready. Say that again. No, don't. I don't need it. I don't. Oh, I love it when people are appreciative of anything that I've done. It's always fun. I do get, I get some, there's some, sometimes there's nasty comments. The ones that are really like disgustingly bad, I haven't gotten any of those in a few months. I got a whole bunch of them with the first of the function calling videos. Oh man, they were super disgusting. And then some people were like, oh, they were constructive criticism. No, you didn't see the ones that I deleted. There's construction and criticism, and then there's people saying you're an effing and that's it. But most of those have gone away. But there's still. I mean, I commented on this yesterday about the Elon Musk, doing basically trying to get away with more stuff, get more power for his AI data center, and kind of getting caught for it, and not getting the power he needs. And one comment was like, "Oh, very original. You talking bad about Elon and like seem to be defending him. I don't know. And I guess you don't listen to all my streams because I'm always talking about people using too much power or too much water. Anyway, always yeah, I agree. I like the way you explain things, make them simple and neat. I have no background in programming, but I get your explanations easily. Good job. Well, thank you, Andrea. Andrea Romito. That's an interesting last name. Romito? Where's that from? Cool. Yeah, I keep saying I'm going to go away. I suck at that part. Saying, okay, gotta go, bye-bye. Okay, I gotta figure out why is the intro, the countdown intro, when it should be like this, it's like that. So it's on its side. I don't know why that is. I'll have to try to figure out what's going on there. Something else I was gonna do. I don't know. Go eat lunch. All right, thanks so much. Bye.